Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Andrew here, and today I wanted to tell you why, in my opinion, you should not agree to sell tickets in exchange for a spot to perform at a show. Now, I'm perhaps going to get some lash out for this, but I don't really care. It's one of the beauties of building an independent sort of channel and different income streams. This doesn't really matter as much. I credit my years in the band world to this. We got ourselves into situations many times when we would agree to sell tickets for a show. I think this greatly depends on where you're at in your career and what your goals are and the style of music that you're in. So this isn't really a blanket statement for everyone, but there are a lot of music promoters out there who will prey on bands or talent that are trying to get exposure, and they will do things like this. They will book a venue that has, let's say, like a $300 or a $500 requirement to book it. They will then look for artists who are, again, so hungry to get opportunities to play at said venue or to appear at that show, to agree to sell, let's say, 25 tickets or 30 tickets to perform. And a lot of times what the promoters you want to avoid are going to hand you these 25 tickets, and they're basically going to say, like, let's say they're $10 a piece. They're going to say, okay, in order to perform, you owe me $250. Here's those 10 tickets. You're going to sell them, or here's those 25 tickets. You're going to sell them at $10 a piece. 10 times 25 is $250, and I want that $250. Now, what's really strange about that is that what a lot of musicians will call is basically pay to play. Why is it pay to play? Well, you don't actually have to sell the 25 tickets. You could literally just pay the $250 to perform. Why is this a bad thing? Why is this something you want to avoid? Well, there's a few different types of music promoters out there. There's music promoters who are completely legitimate, and they understand that people are going to come to see talent that's in demand. So they spend their resources doing what's called talent buying, figuring out the artists who have hype around them, the excitement, people that are artists that people are going to want to see. And they book those artists that are past the stage where they're going to get propositioned to sell tickets, know based on the notoriety of their brand that they're going to sell tickets, so they get paid a flat fee in many cases, or there are other deals like a flat fee and a percentage of the bar, or an artist in theory could book a venue themselves and sell tickets and then keep that money. That would be better business than going through a promoter. But so that isn't really the area of promotion I'm talking about. Let's say a promoter at a club in your town has some big artist coming through, and they give you the opportunity to open, and they want you to sell tickets. That's a different situation, because it's not like you are going to go out to just like your friends and be like, oh, come see my band perform at this dive bar. But you're going to your friends and you're saying, hey, one of my favorite artists is playing, and I'm actually going to open for them. And do you want to buy a ticket? We'll have like an awesome time watching this artist after the show, and it's going to be a big point in my career. And I'd love for you to be there. That's a lot different than if you're playing a venue that with a bunch of other local acts that are all also getting sort of swindled into doing the work for the promoter. The thing that I think is funny, so on a side note, the reason I'm talking about this, should have done this video quite a while ago, but through my d.r.u project, d.r.u, Dream Reach Unite, d.r.u, this dance music alias I've had for the better part of a decade at this point, which is kind of crazy. Someone reached out to me and they said, hey, are you interested in playing this venue in San Diego on sometime in March? And I said, and they said there's a 25 ticket pre-sale. And I wrote back to them and I said, well, who else is playing on the show? Where did you hear my music? What's the theme for the night? I then said, I want clarification on the 25 ticket pre-sale. If you're saying you're going to give me 25 tickets and you expect me to sell those for you, I'm not doing that. I do not pay to play. I am blessed enough to make my money from music, and although I love performing, I'm not going to do the promoter's job for them. After all, I'm the artist. This person's the music promoter. So shouldn't the music promoter be selling the tickets, not the artist? There's lots of venues throughout time that have gotten a lot of shade or negative attention for this. The most notorious of all is the Whiskey A Go Go. Whiskey A Go Go is a music venue in Hollywood, I believe. It's in Los Angeles. Some of the greatest artists ever have performed there, like The Doors, or I think Jimi Hendrix, Eagles, like all sorts of crazy bands. And so there are promoters that'll reach out and say, "Oh, you want to play the Whiskey A Go Go? It's this big, it's this venue that like people want to perform." But in reality, the venue has kind of become this business model where promoters can go out and get bands who want the credit of playing at this venue to sell 50 tickets. A lot of artists that end up performing there aren't even selling the tickets. They're biting the cost. So again, in the music industry, we call this pay to play at a venue. And the sad thing about that is if the whole night is filled with bands who are in a position where they have to go out and sell the tickets for the promoter, chances are you're going to be performing in front of a bunch of other bands and their friends, not necessarily their fans. In some cases, it will be their fans, which wouldn't be as terrible as it is a lot of times when they'll book artists of like different styles. So there's no real like coherence to the kind of like theme of the night or the talent. So where I'm at with my career and my art and the way I view performing, I am not going to show up anywhere to perform without them guaranteeing me a sum of money. The amount of money I ask to perform these days is not an astronomical figure. I think that anyone who finds my music and likes the music enough to want to book me should easily be able to sell 50 tickets at $10 a piece, which you could do the math, which is like my current booking fee. And I think it's important for independent artists or artists out there to know your worth, know what a music promoter should be doing, and know what a performer should be doing. Do not do the job for music promoters. There are a lot of snakes in every city in this country who will, again, prey on people who want to get out performing. There's just so many of them. They'll book a venue like House of Blues. They'll go to bands and say, "Oh, don't you want to perform at House of Blues? We're going to have a lot of people there, but we need you to sell 50 tickets." And it's like, well, if you're going to have a lot of people there, why do you need us selling tickets? If you want us to perform, you should be paying us. We're not going to pay you in tickets or do the work for you. To make this worse, a lot of these promoters are literally getting part of the bar. So they're not only making the money you're giving them from the tickets, which they had to spend money to book the venue. So once they cover that cost, that's all profit for them. They're also, in most cases, working out a situation with the bar itself to get a percentage of bar sales, especially over a certain amount of tickets sold. So hopefully this helps someone else out there. If you decide to ignore this and want to agree to sell tickets, and that, more power to you. If you think I'm wrong for this, that's all good. But in my own personal professional experience, I haven't really gotten anything out of those kind of situation shows. If someone is coming to you pitching you on a really cool night they're throwing and asking you to help in selling tickets, and you're financially incentivized, like you're making money for every ticket you sell, that's very different than saying you need to sell these many tickets and here's those tickets and I need that money. I'm not going to even accept tickets back if you can't sell them. So hopefully this helps you out there. Do not pay to play. It ends up just not helping your career at all. I think you're better off not doing a show than doing a show that's really poorly run and the talent isn't treated well, because I don't think it necessarily even makes you look in the way that you're wanting to look by performing. And there are plenty of places out there where you can perform. If people are going to come and see you and they're buying alcohol or they're buying a ticket, you should be making some of that money, not giving all that money to the venue or promoter. So if you found this helpful, you'd help me out a lot by subscribing to the channel. I attempt to give these kind of insight or tips to those of you out there that care to learn about moving forward in the music industry. And if you subscribe, you'll see me next time. Thanks for hanging out. Cheers and happy Friday.